see you here. We've got wonderful friends in this room, and I appreciate the chance to see you again. It's good to be back in Iowa, and so many friends here in this room and across the state hold a very special place in my heart, and I appreciate your coming to spend a few moments with me today. I've come here today to talk to you about an issue that affects the very heart of America. And of course, Iowa is much more than a collection of beautiful farms and small towns and cities bounded by two of America's great rivers. Iowa is also a collection of the values that built America and that have sustained us through good times and bad. And you know well what those values are. Hard work, taking care of our neighbors, family, common sense. Common sense, kitchen table values, not fancy, but enduring values. These aren't the values that lead to out-of-control spending sprees or to piling up debt that you know that your children and grandchildren will have to pay off all the days of their lives. These aren't the values of putting off difficult decisions with the hope that maybe someone else down the road will solve them. Today, as you just heard from the Lieutenant Governor, America faces a financial crisis of both debt and spending that threaten what it means to be an American. Here in the heartland, you know in your hearts that that's wrong. We can't spend another 4 years talking about solving a problem that we know that we're making worse every single day. When the men and women who settled the Iowa Prairie saw a fire in the distance, they didn't look around for someone else to save them or go back to sleep and hope the wind might change directions. They knew that survival was up to them. A prairie fire of debt is sweeping across Iowa and across the nation. And every day that we fail to act, that fire gets closer to the homes and the children we love. Now you know also this is not solely a Democrat or Republican problem. The issue isn't who deserves the most blame. The issue is who is going to do what it takes to put out the fire. Now the people of Iowa and of America have watched President Obama nearly 4 years now, much of that time with Congress controlled by his own party. And rather than putting out that spending fire, he's been feeding it. He has spent more and borrowed more. The time has come for a president, a leader, who will lead. I will lead us out of this debt and spending inferno. We will stop borrowing unfathomable sums of money we can't even imagine from foreign countries we're never even going to visit. I will work with you to make sure we put out this spending and borrowing fire. A lot of people think this is a problem we can't solve. And I reject that kind of can't-do defeatist talk. It's wrong. What's happened here isn't complicated. Washington has been spending too much money, and our new president made things worse. His policies have taken us backwards. Almost a generation ago, Bill Clinton announced that the era of big government was over. Even a former campaign worker like President Clinton was signaling to his own party that Democrats should no longer try to govern by proposing a new program for every problem. President Obama tucked away the Clinton doctrine in his large drawer of discarded ideas, along with transparency and bipartisanship. It's enough to make you wonder if maybe it was a personal beef with the Clintons, but probably it runs much deeper than that. President Obama is an old school liberal whose first instinct is to see free enterprise as the villain and government as the hero. America counted on President Obama to rescue the economy, to tame the deficit, and help create jobs. Instead, he bailed out the public sector, gave billions of your dollars to companies of his friends, and added almost as much debt to this country as all the prior presidents combined. The consequence is that we are now enduring the most tepid recovery in modern history. The consequence is that half the kids who are graduating from college can't find a job that uses their skills. Half. The consequence is that retirees can no longer get by on their savings and Social Security. The consequence is that the length of time it takes an unemployed worker to find a job is the longest on record. That's why even those who voted for Barack Obama are disappointed in it. Disappointment is the key in which the president's re-election is being played. Americans will not settle for 4 more years of the same melancholy song. We can and must do better than that. President Obama started out with a near $1 trillion stimulus package. It was the biggest, most careless one-time expenditure by the federal government in history. And remember this, the stimulus wasn't just wasted, it was borrowed and wasted. We still owe the money. We're still paying interest on it. And it will be that way long after this president's out of office. Then, of course, came Obamacare. Even now, nobody knows what it's actually going to cost. And that uncertainty, by the way, has slowed the economy. Employers delay hiring. Entrepreneurs put off starting new businesses because of this massive European-style entitlement that Americans didn't want and certainly cannot afford. When you add up all of his policies, by the way, this president has increased the national debt by $5 trillion. Put that in a way that it's easier for us all to comprehend, because frankly, $1 trillion is a number we can't put our minds around. Your household's share, each household share, your household share of government debt and unfunded liabilities has now reached more than $520,000 per average American household. Think about what that means. Your household will be taxed year after year just to pay the interest on that debt and to pay the principal payments on those liabilities. Every year, you're going to be paying for things that have happened in the past. And then it's going to get passed along to your kids. They're going to struggle with the interest on our debts. And President Obama is adding to them every single day. And that, by the way, is the best case scenario. The interest rate on that debt could go up like a rocket, just like an adjustable mortgage goes up. And there's also a good chance that this kind of debt could cause us to hit a wall like they have in Greece, Spain, and Italy. Subprime mortgages, they came close to bringing this economy to its knees. This debt is America's nightmare mortgage. It's adjustable, no money down, and assigned to our children. And politicians have been trying to hide the truth about this nightmare mortgage for years, just like liar loans. This is not just bad economics. It is morally wrong, and we must stop it. Some ideas about things we can do to do just that. During my years in business and also in state government, I came to recognize that the economy has 3 major players, if you will. The private sector, free enterprise, the states and localities, and then the federal government. Now, of the 3, the private sector is by far the most efficient and cost-effective in providing to the people of our nation the products and services they want. That's because scores and scores of businesses and thousands upon thousands of entrepreneurs are competing every day to find a way to deliver a product or a service that's better than anyone else's. They're all trying to come up with something better. Think about smartphones, for instance. You know, BlackBerry got things going, and then Apple introduced the iPhone. And now the Android platform is leading the market. In a world of free enterprise, competition brings us better and better products at lower and lower cost. That's the whole idea. Not because they're all smarter, but because there's so many people competing with ideas, trying to come up with better ways to come up with better products. And the customer, that's us, by the way, is who benefits from all this.